Hi everyone, today I'm going to do a textbook recording of your activities so that I can explain your activities to you. So, of course, before you do your activities, it means you need to look at your theory and your videos first in order to understand how to do the activities and in order to understand the terminology used in your activities. So, please don't neglect going through your theory and going through your additional videos as well to assist you. We are looking at Unit Standard 9016 today. So let us have a look at our first activity. It says group activity, but as per usual, you can do it as an individual because you do work online. So let's see if you can identify what type of measurement is used and or equipment in the following situations. So when you buy groceries and need to work out whether you have sufficient funds, what you need to calculate is your rands or your currency. And if you're still a little archaic, you can use a calculator. Or you can go and you can have a look. There are apps online. There's an app for everything, but let us look at the traditional way of working with things. So you can use a calculator to calculate how much the groceries cost, and then you use a calculator to find out if the amount of money you have is sufficient. You can use a till system. You can use an automatic bank balance. All of these tools will assist you. When you calculate how much ingredients you will need to prepare the meal, you calculate it in grams or kilograms or milliliters, and you use a kitchen scale for that. When you work out how much overtime you have worked for a particular month, you use a clocking sheet or a clock. So that's the tool that you use. How long do you know, or how do you know how long you've worked? You use the clock. When you work out how much discount you are able to offer your client, you calculate the percentage off using a calculator. And then I'm giving you all the answers here, but I want you to look at different ways of working it out as well. Let's move on, as I don't want to revise every single answer with you, although the answers are there, so you can very easily see that. I'm not leaving much to the imagination, but I want you to go home and also ask yourself if there are other ways you can calculate it other than what I've told you. Brainstorm in your group, or on your own, what other forms of measurements are found in both your everyday work situations and personal lives. List your responses below. So I didn't give you all the answers here, but I gave you a few, and I want you to list different ones than the ones I have listed as well. So everyday work situations, we use rulers, tape measures, calculators, and in our personal lives, perhaps the bathroom scale, the speedometer, a ruler, an alarm clock, for example. Identify what measurements are measured with the following instruments and also indicating which quantities or what quantities each instrument would measure. Write your answers next to each picture below. So, a ruler is used to measure small flat objects of no more than 30 centimeters in length. You can also use a ruler to measure string, for example. You are going to tell me, using the examples that I have put here, you're going to give me your own interpretation. Of course, with something like a clock, this is the only interpretation, as clocks are used to measure time. You're going to tell me what this is used for, what this is used for, and what this object is used for. Appropriate formula are selected and used, making use of formula to calculate measurements. So the use of formulas to calculate measurements allow us to complete the calculations quicker and easier. So the formula is your method. It's there to tell you that as a rule, this is how you will calculate something. So how to find hours and minutes when the number of minutes is known. So the example that I used actually outlines that slightly is, although the example that I used isn't this exact example, it shouldn't be. I want you to have a look at the activity over here. It says, give another two examples of formulas that you can make use of. Give examples to explain your answers. So you can Google it, you can research it. It can be anything, any formula that you have, any formula that you've researched, whether it's how to calculate or convert kilograms into grams, for example, and you can add that over here. What's the purpose of this formula? It's to calculate how to get from kilograms to grams or vice versa. And so I just went a bit more creative and said, okay, the formula to calculate how much time is required to get ready for work in the morning, and then ensure that all calculations are set out in minutes. For example, 1 hour equals 60 minutes. That is the purpose of what we're trying to find. And so the formula I used is to add your activities together. Activity 1 plus activity 2 plus activity 3 plus activity 4 equals your total, and then you divide your total by 60 so that we can get to hours. So example is shower activity 1 plus brush teeth equals 20 minutes plus get dressed plus do makeup plus eat, and it's a total of 60 minutes divided by 60 equals 1 hour. So you're going to write your own purpose and your own formula and your own example. Symbols and units are used in accordance with SI conventions as appropriate to the situation. So in South Africa, we use the metric system. That means we use things like meters and kilometers, not miles, which is the American way of doing it. The SI unit of length is the meter. The following gives you the relationship between the length measurements. So you'll see over here 10 millimeters equals 1 centimeter, and how they have come to all of these answers on your right of the equation is that they just divided what is on the left by 10 and it gets you to 1. So if you want to find out how many centimeters are in a decimeter, you would times 1 decimeter by 10. If you want to get from centimeters to decimeter, you would say 10 centimeters divided by 10 equals 1 decimeter. Now the general formula for calculating area, that's what we have next. I will load videos online for this. So this you will see, these are all part of your links, and that's going to assist you with this content that we've just passed. Now, measuring mass. The SI unit of mass is the kilogram. So we are asking ourselves, what is the SI unit of something? And so here I'm going to give you a few examples. I'm going to skip this and go to our activity so I can discuss the SI units with you. So in South Africa, we use the metric system for measuring length. The SI unit of length is the meter. The SI unit of mass is the kilogram. So if someone asks you, what is the SI unit of length? You will say it is the meter. We measure length in meters. If they ask you, what is the SI unit of a kilogram? You'll say of mass, my apologies, you'll say it is the kilogram because we measure mass in kilograms. Now you're going to design a poster to indicate all of these symbols and units are used in accordance with SI conventions and as appropriate to the situation. So for example, you're going to take these SI units, length, mass, time, electric current, and you are going to find out what the SI units of each of them are. For example, of length, we know it is the meter. Of mass, we know it is the kilogram. So you're going to Google, what is the SI unit for time? What is the SI unit of the electric current? And then you are going to do a poster indicating these symbols and indicating where they are best used. So for example, you're going to put a massive bag of flour, and you're going to say to measure this flour, we use the SI unit of mass, which is the kilogram. And so under the flour, you can put the word mass, you can put equals kilograms, for example. Remember, with your posters, you want it to be colorful and appealing. It must please be 2 A4 pages because it can't be an A2 sheet as we would do it, or an A3 as we would do it usually. So please do 2 A4s. Remember, it must be colorful. You can add other SI units as well. We want images and information. Remember, for a poster, your information is brief and it is bold. Okay, let us move forward. So here, in your own words, explain what the geometrical relationship between the two shapes above. What is the geometrical relationship between the two shapes above over here. I'm going to do a separate video on these questions.